Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into some top secret FBI level stuff. We're talking about celebrities, big-time stars that the FBI was secretly watching, files, investigations, the whole 9 yards. Can you believe that? These are household names, legends, people you wouldn't even imagine. Stick around till the end because some of these names are going to blow your mind. Let's get into it. All right, first up, we got Charlie Chaplin. You know, the little tramp, the mustache, the whole deal. Super iconic, right? But behind that comedic genius, the FBI was kind of freaking out. They thought he might be a communist. I'm talking full-on Red Scare paranoia. Chaplin was all about social justice in his films, fighting for the little guy, and back then that raised some serious eyebrows. The FBI started monitoring his activities, looking for any little thing to link him to communism. They tapped his phones, went through his mail, even tried to dig up dirt on his personal life. They even went after his visa, trying to get him kicked out of the country. Can you imagine kicking out Charlie Chaplin? It's crazy how much power the FBI had back then. They were so caught up in their witch hunt that they targeted a guy who just wanted to make people laugh. Next up, we got a Beatle, baby, John Lennon. Peace, love and rock and roll, not for the FBI. They were watching his every move, and let me tell you, they were not fans of his music. Lennon was all about peace, man. He hated war, spoke out against it constantly, and that didn't sit well with the government, especially during the Vietnam War. They saw him as a threat, a dangerous radical who could turn the youth against them. They even tried to get him deported back to England. Can you imagine the Beatles without John Lennon? It's crazy how much power they had to try and silence someone just because they disagreed with his message. All right, get this, even Marilyn Monroe, the ultimate Hollywood icon, wasn't safe from the FBI's prying eyes. They thought she might be involved with communists, I know, right? Sounds crazy, but back then they saw shadows everywhere. They were monitoring her associations, her phone calls, everything. They even looked into her relationship with playwright Arthur Miller, who was suspected of having communist ties. Can you imagine the FBI listening in on Marilyn Monroe's phone calls? It's wild. They even kept files on her travels, her personal life, everything. It's just sad, you know? Chapter 4, Martin Luther King Jr., A Dream Under Surveillance. All right, now we're getting into serious territory. Martin Luther King Jr., a true American hero, a man who fought for equality and justice. You'd think he'd be above suspicion, right? Wrong. The FBI had him under constant surveillance, and it was worse than you can imagine. They tapped his phones, bugged his hotel rooms, even tried to blackmail him. They saw him as a threat, a dangerous radical who was disrupting the status quo. They couldn't stand his message of equality, his fight against segregation. They tried to discredit him, to paint him as a communist sympathizer, anything to silence his powerful voice. They even sent him anonymous letters threatening to expose his personal life if he didn't stop his activism. Can you believe the audacity? It's disgusting the lengths they went to try and bring him down. But Dr. King, he persevered. He knew the risks, but he never backed down from his fight for equality. Chapter 5, Albert Einstein, the genius the FBI feared. Next up, we got a genius on our hands, Albert Einstein, the man who revolutionized physics. You wouldn't think a scientist would be on the FBI's radar, right? But Einstein wasn't just any scientist. He was a vocal pacifist, a humanitarian, and that made him a target. The FBI was convinced he was a communist sympathizer, a security risk. They were suspicious of his involvement with pacifist groups, his outspoken criticism of nuclear weapons. They tapped his phones, intercepted his mail, even investigated his immigration status. They even compiled a massive file on him filled with rumors, hearsay, and unsubstantiated accusations. It's crazy how fear and paranoia can make people turn on anyone, even a brilliant mind like Einstein. Chapter 6, Muhammad Ali, the champ the FBI couldn't knock out. All right, let's talk about Muhammad Ali, the greatest boxer of all time, a true icon both inside and outside the ring. But even the champ wasn't immune to the FBI's watchful eye. They saw him as a threat, a powerful voice for change during a time of social upheaval. Ali was a vocal opponent of the Vietnam War, refusing to be drafted, famously saying, "I ain't got no quarrel with them Viet Cong." That statement shook the nation and landed him right in the FBI's crosshairs. They monitored his every move, his associations with civil rights activists, his outspoken criticism of racial injustice. They saw him as a dangerous radical. someone who could incite unrest and challenge the establishment. But Ali, he never backed down. He used his platform to speak truth to power, to fight for what he believed in, even if it meant risking his career and his freedom. Chapter 7, Ernest Hemingway, the writer in their sights. All right, next up we got Ernest Hemingway, the literary giant, the man behind The Old Man and the Sea. You wouldn't think a writer would be on the FBI's radar, right? Wrong. They were suspicious of his travels, his associations, even his writing. Hemingway had seen war firsthand, reported on conflicts, and was known to be friends with people from all walks of life. That, combined with his outspoken personality, made the FBI nervous. They started keeping tabs on him, suspecting he might have communist sympathies. They monitored his movements, intercepted his mail, even placed him under surveillance during his travels to Cuba. They were convinced he was involved in something subversive, that his writing was a cover for espionage. Can you imagine Ernest Hemingway, a secret agent? It sounds like something out of one of his novels. All right, let's talk about Jane Fonda, the actress, the fitness guru, the outspoken activist. She was a major figure in the anti-war movement during the Vietnam era, and that put her directly in the FBI's line of fire. Fonda was vocal in her opposition to the war, organizing protests, speaking at rallies, even traveling to North Vietnam to meet with communist leaders. The FBI saw her as a dangerous radical, a threat to national security. They placed her under surveillance, tapped her phones, infiltrated her inner circle, all in an attempt to discredit her and silence her activism. They even tried to link her to communist organizations, hoping to use the Red Scare hysteria to turn public opinion against her. But Fonda, she refused to be intimidated. She continued to speak out against the war, to fight for social justice, even when it meant facing arrest and public backlash. All right, now we're getting into the world of gangsters and intrigue. Frank Sinatra, the legendary crooner, the epitome of cool. But behind that smooth voice and charming persona, the FBI suspected a darker side. They were convinced he had ties to organized crime, specifically the mafia. Sinatra's Rat Pack persona, his association with known mob figures, and his rumored gambling habits all raised red flags for the FBI. They started keeping tabs on him, monitoring his movements, his phone calls, his every move. They were convinced he was using his celebrity status as a cover for illegal activities, that his concerts were fronts for mob gatherings. They even investigated his relationship with John F. Kennedy, suspecting that Sinatra's alleged mob ties might have influenced the presidential election. It's a wild story, like something straight out of a Hollywood movie. Last but not least, we got the king himself, Elvis Presley, the hip-swiveling, guitar-slinging icon of rock and roll. You might think music was all he was about, but the FBI saw him as a threat to American values. Can you believe it? They thought Elvis was too provocative, too rebellious, that his music would corrupt the youth. They monitored his concerts, worried about riots and teenagers going wild. They even kept files on his dance moves, believing they were too suggestive. The FBI investigated his lyrics, looking for hidden messages and subversive themes. But Elvis, he just kept on rocking, his music breaking down barriers and uniting generations. He became a global phenomenon, a true icon, proving that the FBI's attempts to suppress him were futile. And there you have it, folks. 10 famous people you never knew the FBI kept tabs on. Crazy, right? It's insane to think that these icons, these legends, were being secretly watched and investigated. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more mind-blowing content. Let us know in the comments which one surprised you the most. See you next time.